Well, hello, hello. Here we are again on Frecovery Friday. And oh my gosh, honey, I am so excited. We have got a really incredible guest today. It seems like we always have incredible
We have
guests,
incredible guests
right?
every week.
And I'm so excited, though, to have David Staab from Austin, Texas. Let me share just a little bit about David as we get going. David, you're going to want to turn down or you might have to shut off your other one so you don't get reverb on the broadcast on Facebook. But so really interesting story about David. David and I met, I don't even know what month it was, but I know there wasn't snow on the ground. But we met through Instagram, and for whatever reason, we were compelled to connect further and chat. And I think that first conversation we had lasted well over an hour. I was super, super excited to meet you. I know that Alicia was hearing about you a lot, and we've just cultivated this friendship over time. But honey, this is the first time you've met David in person, right?
So the first time in person, heard lots and lots about you.
Well, let's get started. We're going to talk a little bit about your background and your past and the success that you've had. And how you've parlayed some of the challenges in your past into creating a very successful business and mindset. And so, honey, why don't you go ahead and kick us off and let's get this thing started.
Awesome. Excuse me. Totally getting over a cold. I am so excited because from what James has told me and the little snippets I hear, I love the place that you operate from. You just are really there for people. And I'd like to start with our very first question that we think is so impactful. And that is, how has addiction impacted your life, David?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to start off by saying thanks for the chance to talk with you guys. I met a lot of people in my life, and the authenticity and like the connection we've had has been really cool. So I'm so excited to talk to you guys. Addiction, man, it's this thing that I truly feel arguably is one of the biggest issues out there, and it's so hidden. It's so hidden, and I've been in a direct sales industry for almost 15 years now in multiple organizations and risen to the top of multiple organizations before starting my own business. And addiction's had a direct impact constantly throughout the process. And where I'm at now, it's all about coming from a place of authenticity and genuine connection, which is what I teach my employees and what I'm a huge proponent in speaking about. But how addiction impacts me now, or how it impacted me then, or both?
I'm gonna pick D, all of the above.
Okay. Yeah. So early on, I've had a bit of an innate ability to connect with people, which led me to a sales career. But it constantly was the thing that held me back professionally and personally. My personal addiction was binge drinking. That was actually my personal issue that I dealt with that I didn't want to admit that was a big issue for me for most of my career. But it constantly held me back. And as I moved up, I was in New York City for years working in medical sales. I worked in some big organizations there and even helped build startups. As I moved up, it's one of those things you don't really talk about. And I felt like, I don't know if it's this stigma of being weak, talking about having an addiction, especially once you start to go through the ranks and you rise up and you're managing people, because you can put on a good front at work. But what took me years to realize is what's happening in your personal life, it's going to directly impact your business life. It's going to impact your professional work life. And it constantly held me back. I was deeply unhappy. I could put on a face and perform, but deep down it was tearing me up inside, and I was just making bad decisions, and it was just the thing that constantly held me back. And I tried to go through that's a whole nother topic, but I went through all of society's ways to try and overcome it. I really did. I'm not trying to down talk society at all, but I went through everything, a clinic, the medications, everything, and literally it actually made it worse. It didn't work for me. It wasn't until I took a lot of power into my own hands. I definitely am incredibly grateful for my wife, who's my foundation. But I started taking power into my own hands, learning about reprogramming the subconscious mind, learning about true authenticity, learning about being who you really are, learning about actual connection, and like the fact that I just was craving genuine connection and not putting on a front of what I thought people wanted me to be. All of these things that sound like woo woo, I guess, are real. These are things that people, this is what actually made the change within me. I've been sober for years now, and it's been the lessons. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm so thankful for the gift of addiction. I'm so thankful for it because through that, the lessons, the screw ups, all the lessons I learned there, I've been able to internalize them, and I'm far from perfect. I still screw up, but I can internalize, not from the addiction standpoint, I don't, but I can internalize those lessons, and it's had such an impact on the authenticity that I can teach my employees, that I can help people I personally mentor, professionally train. People are different, but everyone wants connection. Everyone wants to be themselves. And there's this beautiful light within us all that is held back from not being authentic because of all the judgment and the conditioning. And addictions, in my personal opinion, addiction has been stemming from people not being able to be authentic and open up and be who they really are because they're afraid of judgment when we're all dealing with it. It's such an interesting catch-22. I know I just kind of said a lot, but I could go on.
No, it was beautiful. And so one of the things that stood out to me while you were sharing was this, you made the comment around, I know this sounds a lot of woo woo, but here's the thing. And this is where kind of our research led us, is there's actually science to support what you just talked about. There's science around the idea that meaningful connection is key to being who you are, and it's key to vulnerability. It really is a deep driver to transformation. And something that you might want to look up, David, and we'd be happy to share some of this with you, is we started to look at a neuroscientist by the name of Dr. Stephen Porges, who talks about something called polyvagal theory. And you've heard of being in survival mode, right? And all the stuff that happens.
Yep.
So our autonomic nervous system, when we are in survival mode, it's doing things that we have no control over, right? So if a bear jumped through your window right now, you would have no control over how your heart rate acted and how your breathing acted. Like you automatically are optimized to handle that situation. The problem is that we're in survival mode all the time now with no real threat out there, and it's all happening up in our mind, right? And polyvagal theory, what it says is that when you're in a place of safety and feel connected, there's also things that start to happen to you automatically as well. So it's fascinating. So believe it or not, and we've said the same thing, that, oh my gosh, these are just those soft skills, or empathy is this kind of woo-woo thing. But the fact is, it's actually where the science resides in transformation. So we love it, dude. We love what you're talking about.
I love that.
Our language.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Well, didn't I tell you? I mean, he really is. He's cut from the same cloth. And it's why I think, all these conversations that we've had have been so lengthy, and we've just got this deeper connection with each other because I think we come from that same mindset and that. And so David, talk a little bit about, so you've talked about how, and I am as well. I'm super grateful for what I went through. It brought me to a place of really understanding who I am. And I talked about my superpower, which you and I had a lot of interplay around, about vulnerability really is, it's what drives that connection even, right? Talk about what's happened since you've made that transition. So, however long you've been in recovery, like, how did you take those lessons and how does it apply to your business today? And I'd really be interested too in hearing about, because you've been in sales your whole life. I know that there are a lot of people that follow us and watch a lot of our broadcasts that are in the addiction recovery field, that are in sales, call it what you want, but they're in outreach or they do business development. So maybe talk about that transition, and then tell us a little bit about this thing that you call mindful sales, because I'm really intrigued with that piece, because if there's anything that people struggle with in the addiction recovery industry is being too salesy or not being compassionate enough or empathetic. And so there's a lot there for you to cover, but we're all ears.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity to chat about it. I am so passionate about this new thing that I feel like is this growing consciousness. Okay, so gosh, how to put all this into words. So sales, at its epitome, it's just connection with people. I think this is why I've been so drawn to it. It's just genuine connection with people. And I created this, I want to say I created it, it's always been there. I guess I named it, this concept of mindful sales. And what I called that is, it's the art of genuine connection through an empowered mindset of connecting with people. So it's all about empowering the mindset. And what I took from my lessons was there's literally, there's a lot of different mindsets, but it all goes either to limited beliefs or empowered mindset. And learning those lessons, I've been able to take those lessons, and every single day in my business, I run every single day 1 to 2 hour clinic on how to empower your mind, how to create powerful habits, how to reprogram your mind. What are you putting into your conscious mind? How are you feeding your body? Instant and delayed gratifications, how we're conditioned into instant gratification that holds us back from where we want to go in our life. And the subconscious mind running most of our day, when we can reprogram the subconscious through the conscious. So all of these lessons came from addiction, from overcoming, that a part of me will always, have that addiction, right? So when I say overcoming, I really mean taking the lessons from it and knowing that there's a purpose behind it. There's a meaning behind it. And it gave my life this really interesting purpose of developing and empowering people. My business, the core, the mission of it, the purpose is to develop and empower people. So, and a lot of those lessons I learned from overcoming what I had to an addiction. What I urge everyone that's in sales and dealing with this, it just comes down to being authentic, and it takes work. It takes work on your mind, and it takes work every day, because every day you're going to have a battle of taking an easy path or taking a hard path, making an easier decision or making a harder decision. So this is one of the things, just to give you a quick idea, that I teach my employees all the time. I urge everyone to try is create I call it a PMR, but it's a powerful morning routine. Start it early, because anything you do, think about how it's training your mind. Think about how it's training. Everything you do is training your mind one way or another. So if you can train your mind to get up early every day, I don't like it. I don't like getting up at 4. I'm an extremist. So I get up at like 4:45. So I don't see you have to get up that early to work out every day. But what I know is I'm training my mind to do something super uncomfortable, super difficult first thing in the morning. That means all day long, when I'm responsible for running my business, for empowering my employees, I have hard decisions I have to make. I have a better chance of making the harder decisions in my personal life and my professional life that are going to be better for my personal life and better for the business. So it all goes back to programming and reprogramming of the mind, really getting crystal clear on what you want for your life and being authentically you, being who you really are. A lot of salespeople, I'm not taking away scripts. There's nothing wrong with scripts. There's nothing wrong with the sales dynamic, the sales coaching. I think that's all great. But there's a deeper part of sales, the deeper root of sales. It's connection. It's genuine connection. The best salespeople I have, and I'm not trying to brag on the business or anything, but the best salespeople, I have people that come into my business because I teach people from every socioeconomic background. I have people that come in that have never made $200 or $300 in a week. And I literally have a guy right now pulling in $2,100 a week in my direct sales business. And he never had sales experience, didn't know a thing about security, but he's so authentic. He's so genuine. He can have conversations with people, and he's so real. And that will take you further than following a script and memorizing a script. It's genuine connection. And what I get so excited about is sales, and what I get to the blessing of teaching to, I've taught it to major companies. I've done presentations for companies up to 100 people virtually. I'm doing it now with mine. And what I get to teach people is not just sales and sales techniques, but these these powerful lessons and actionable things you can do will carry over into your personal life. It's genuine connection with people. And one of the things I love that you guys speak about, you know, James, what you guys are all about at its core root, I'm not trying to simplify this whole thing of addiction and living a fulfilling life, but it comes down to connection.
Mm-hmm.
All connection, genuine, authentic, raw connection, not caring what people think, being truly who you are, and then you just connect, and something beautiful happens in life when you do that. I mean, so addiction's really been such a gift of helping me go internal and learn all these lessons and find the purpose of inspiring and empowering other people and helping people along their journey to help them learn how to inspire and empower other people once they grasp this concept of connection and authenticity.
Is that it?
But that was fantastic. That was so good.
I get joked on all the time because my second in command at my office is like, all right, because I do a lot of the clinics I run. They're like the 5 things of this or the 10 things of this. And each one, man, I can run off on a freaking tangent. I'm trying to get better about it, but I'll just go off on a tangent. And I'm like, all right, it'll be a quick meeting today, guys, 20, 30 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes later. They're just like, I mean, they love it, but they're like, don't tell us it's going to be a 20 to 30 minute meeting.
Well, so you know, the science backs up everything that you say. And it's one of the things that we learned is because we were so trained that, well, you've just got to memorize this or you've got to do that. But when it comes right down to it, and you know, one of the guys that I love checking in with all the time, who's very well known in the marketing space, is Seth Godin. Yeah. And one of the things that even opened us up more, because I think there's this process of you go from what you knew, right? You go over here from what you knew, and then you maybe go all the way over to the woo-woo side or the soft skills side, and it's all hard and it's all kind of that, you know, just that soft and fluffy side. But what's interesting is when Seth Godin talks about empathy, and there's a couple of other books out there. One is I'm listening to right now is called Applied Empathy. And immediately out of the gates, he says, it's not about being nice. It's about truly putting yourself in a position to try to understand your customers. Like if you, and think about it, when we can get down and deep and really understand what our customers are looking for, it's really easy to fulfill that. But we tend to go in with, what can I sell them, not what can I do for them?
I have all this. I have all this. Not right. What do they need? What do they want? How can I connect with them? Yeah.
Yeah. And so the best way to do that is by what we call innate listening, which you've probably heard me use that term before.
I've never heard that before.
And it really is. It's giving people the space to really share.
Hey, James, I think you're frozen. I don't know if you know this or not, but I think you are frozen. Oh, I don't know if you can see me or not, James, but you are frozen, sir. Give you a call real quick.
Hey, you're still on air, and I don't know why we're not.
Do you want me to stop the camera?
But, yeah, we're going to go ahead and
it is.
What was that?
Like magic.
So like magic, everybody, we got lost for a minute. I don't know what happens. That you know, the beauty.
I was like,
technology.
is it just me out here now?
It's not crazy. Well, listen, David. As we just wrap up here, I want to thank you so much for one, sharing a little bit about your story and the gift of addiction. I love that. And thank you so much for talking a little bit about those successes that you've had and the ability that you've had to really transform what some would call challenges, struggles into something pretty amazing. I mean, you are an inspiration to people all over the country with what you're doing. Your business in such a way that it provides success and just so much.
I wanted to share really quick too that the way you're impacting so many other people to just not be afraid to go inside and look inside, authentic, be themselves is so, and I'm just thrilled that you're out there doing that.
Thank you guys so much. And I just wanted to say thanks so much for creating this platform for people to share a voice. This is what the world literally needs. Like, this isn't like nothing against businesses at all, but this is at its core what the world needs. They need people like you guys that are creating platforms where people can share their stories, where people can impact other people. You guys are doing such an incredible work and incredible purpose. I'm grateful to be connected with you and to see where everything goes.
Yeah. Well, brother, thanks so much. Much love. Have an awesome weekend. And until next time, everybody, please stay connected. Bye-bye.